It's as true today as it ever was. He who seeks beauty will find it.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Before we get going, I think that it's important as I plant my feet here on the stage that we recognize that we're on tribal lands, on the Kalispel land, so I think it's important for us to just take a second to let that sink in. Thank you so much for coming out to the Third Annual Diversity Monologues. We realize that you could have been anywhere tonight, that you chose to be here. This evening we have 9 Whitworthians courageously sharing their stories with you, and they're actually going to be walking down right now. Let's give them a big round of applause. With an open mind and heart. Listen to understand and not to judge. If you hear a truth being told that may not jive with your truth, hold on to that. Be curious. Curiosity is what we need. We don't have to let go of what we believe, but we do need to be curious about what someone else believes. We do not need to acknowledge that their way of interpreting this world might be essential to our survival. Beyond the Showcase Diversity Monologues is also a call to action, an opportunity to create a new Whitworth story. Sociologist John Powell proposes that this new story requires more than words. It requires actions. It requires reaching inside ourselves and out across the gulf that threatens to divide us. The new story requires that we lean away from hate and into love. We will make mistakes and there will be setbacks, but we can collectively give birth to a new story and a new way of being. The questions we must ask ourselves to ensure we create a better Whitworth. How do things get better? And equally important, what is our role in creating a new story to ensure that things get better? There are many members within this Whitworth community that share their insight and energy to make Diversity Monologues a reality. Jessica Clements and the students from the Writing Composition Commons, they help prepare students by leading students in a monologue writing workshop. Naftali Fields, she led the delivery workshop to offer tips on how to best communicate the monologues. Maria Sorsi, who's not here, she's across the country, yet still holding it down, and her team leading the technical efforts here in Cole's Auditorium. Numerous staff and faculty supported by embedding the writing of a monologue and attendance of Diversity Monologues into the course syllabi. Let's give it up for them. I'd like to give a shout out to the Whitworth University Diversity Monologues Planning Committee, Jose Aguilera, Adia Ashford, Dylan Reyes, and Michelle Marufu. A special thanks to Megan Folk, who created the publication that you all got tonight. Let's give it up for Megan. Aaron Wolf, who shot footage for the videos. And I need all of you to dig deep, to give a loud applause and energy to Steven Heredia, who put together the videos, the music. We're appreciative of the support extended by the Whitworth community. Our president, Beck Taylor, who couldn't be here tonight, but we know that he's here in spirit. The speakers and artists, the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, U.S. Cultural Studies, the Writing Composition Commons, Women's and Gender Studies, and Steffi Nobles Beans. And I'll definitely get back to her in just a second. And I do have to give a shout out to the student staff in the ISC and to colleagues, friends, and and for me also family, to Lulu Gonzalez and Sean Washington. Special shout out and thanks to Vice President of Student Life, Rosetta Rhodes, for being a change agent on this campus. Diversity Monologues demonstrates the collaborative nature of our community and an engagement of both mind and heart. So, next, I have the opportunity to introduce someone that is near and dear to my heart. So, Steffi Nobles Beans. She's a self-published author, speaker, professor, life coach, dedicating to helping people rise above and launch into their destiny and purpose. She is the founder of SNB and WERE, Women Ever Rising Every Day, and has served as a community advocate for women and children. She is a transformational leader and an educator for over 20 years. Steffi knows what it means to endure, to place dreams on the back burner for family. She knows the power of persistence. Divorced after 32 years of marriage, she knew she had to make some major changes in her life. She understands the power of resilience and tenacity in the face of life's disappointments. At age 43, she returned to school, graduated with her bachelor's degree. Then at 60, graduated with her master's degree with honors at Whitworth University. She has been showing the Whitworth community love and grace for over 21 years in campus ministries and currently serves as the coordinator for diversity, equity, and inclusion ministries. Yet for me, all of this and only a few sentences to describe what she means to me. Personally, Steffi's a colleague, a teacher, a mentor, a friend, a sister. Steffi, you're a bright light on cloudy days. Much love and respect. Let's give it up for Steffi Nobles.
So I know that this venue is already blessed. So I bless you. And as I was thinking about diversity monologues, I told David I wanted to do a little something different than a prayer. This is a blessing from my heart. As many of you know, I love writing. And so when he told me what the name of the monologue was going to be, how do I come to know beauty? This is from my heart to yours. I looked in the mirror of my imagery, and I simply said that 63 looks good on me. And yet, my lines defined are not one of Medicare or Social Security, but they define beauty that is so skin deep. So how do I come to know beauty? I smile in all the agility and simply look at this chocolate skin that I'm encased in, and I dive into my ocean of chocolate. I dived into my ocean of chocolate and I swam to Namibia and Zimbabwe. Serenity invaded my soul. I swam with perfection, smooth and agile, and when I came up for air, it was so refreshing to see beautiful. And in my ocean of chocolate, I backstroked to Sierra Leone and Nigeria and Republic of Congo, and there I found no competition for the finish line. For everyone there was of importance, applause were everywhere and for everyone. And then I dived even deeper into my chocolate, swam to Gambia and Botswana. Copper, ginger, and hazelnut brown were the plankton. And the deeper I swam, the more I came to know beauty within. You see, chocolate embraced me the more. And I breaststroked to Ethiopia and Liberia and Madagascar. My mind was taken to the depths of ocean floors of beauty, strengthened by my people, faces of beauty so surreal, colors so magnificent, I wanted to swim and swim forever. 20 feet waves of Morocco brown, tango cinnamon, Eritrea mocha, and dark chocolate came crashing down. And then I held on to this beauty as I opened up my eyes and saw a sea of beauty here at Whitworth University. And the impact of your love and the beauty that caught me in the swirl of things and this beauty that I have come to know soothed my soul. And here at Whitworth, diving into my beauty of chocolate, I never want to swim to shore again.
Are you all ready? Yeah. All right, so next up, I'm going to share a brief bio of our Third Annual Diversity Monologues artist, scholar in residence, and her name is Aisha Fukushima, all right? So, Aisha is a singer, speaker, educator, raptivist, which is combined rap activist. Fukushima founded Raptivism, a hip-hop project spanning 20 countries and 4 continents, amplifying universal efforts for freedom and justice. She is multilingual, multiracial, African-American, Japanese woman who has done lectures and performances everywhere from the United States to France, Morocco, Japan, Germany, England, South Africa, Senegal, India, Denmark, and beyond. Fukushima's Raptivism work has been featured on Oprah Magazine, TEDx, public television, the Seattle Times, TV 2M Morocco, the Bangalore Mirror, Hype, South Africa's #1 hip-hop magazine, and others. As a public speaker, Fukushima combines the arts of performance and lecture. In her speeches, she links themes such as hip-hop, global citizenship, empowerment, feminism, and cultural activism with live musical performances. One of the reasons that we brought Aisha here is because if you all didn't know, it's Women's History Month. She was the first non-native person to deliver a keynote address at Montana's 2012 Schools of Promise Conference for Indigenous Youth and has presented at such diverse venues as Stanford University, the National Conference on Race and Ethnicity, People of Color in Independent Schools, conferences, UMass Amherst, TEDx Sitka, TEDx Whitman, TEDx UW-CCR, Rock the School Bells, Osaka University, among others. Let's give it up for our Third Annual Diversity Monologues artist, scholar, and residence, Aisha Fukushima.
Thank you. Wow. In the land of the free and the home of the... How can this be the land of the free and the home of the brave when so many people live in fear? I captivate, reincarnate with an imagination state of mind. Teacher, I am more than those underestimations combined. Do you mind? I am growing here, cocooned in a cacophony of sounds and silences like ancestors' footsteps at pace. With my heart, I am more than your labels make me out to be. I am more than those labels make me out to be. I am human, first and foremost. I said I am human, first and foremost. Except for when I am a butterfly whose metamorphosis reopens the orifices of our connectivity. We are more connected than we pretend to be. Let these wings make me free as I fly on the winds of change. A new season has come, rearranged, the old one is done, interchanged, and living as a butterfly has taught me one thing, that there is no beginning or ending, only shape-shifting. So let us call this a transformation. Let us call this a reformation. My wing pattern is a blueprint for elevation, and there ain't no stopping this reclamation constructed in the language of sounds and silences that must be read between the lines until we realize that this whole reality is constructed. The education that values one human life over another is corrupted. Migration is a way of life. I said migration is a way of life, and I float by pushing myself up on matter that I cannot see, like dreams, shape-shift in a medium of creativity. Sometimes it's hard to be a butterfly when you were built to soar, and some try to colonize the sky. How can you divide the air? Must be hard to breathe if we don't want to share. This is the life of a butterfly. Karma and samsara, birth and rebirth. I am woman and I know my worth. Monarch but not imperial. I spit philosophies that ain't ethereal. I keep rising and shining, wondering, can you hear me though? I keep rising and shining, wondering, can you hear me though? So as we float, as we fly, as we flutter, the warmth of prayers that melt like butter flies over aching wombs. Erected in remembrance, stand high like pyramid tombs. This is for you, and for you, and for you, and for you, and for you. But I believe in all of you. Hold your head high as you speak your truths. I said, birds flying high, the sun up in the sky. Ooh, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for we, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for we, and we feeling good. Thank you. Whitworth, how y'all feeling? What about this side? How y'all feeling over here? Okay, what about over here? All right, I see. What about these folks in the front? What about the folks in the back? What you got? That's beautiful. Are you all excited for the diversity monologues tonight? Oh my goodness. We are about to experience, to bathe in, to swim in an incredible universe, I'll say, of beauty. I invite you to open heart and mind and spirit with every story, with every word, with every pulse, and to continue to show and share love as you have already done thus far this evening. Now, are you ready to journey together? I said, are you ready to journey together? Let's give a warm round of applause for our first presenter, Utsul Shrestha.
Hi, I'm Utsul Shrestha. I'm from Nepal. I never finished To Kill a Mockingbird, but I did get a message from it. Be able to step into someone's shoes if you want to understand how they feel. And that's what I've always tried to do. I feel like that's really important, especially for your friends. That's my message to you. Stop feeling lonely. Look around you. People are beautiful. Your relationships with them are even more beautiful. I had a couple of long conversations with a friend from Hong Kong about mental health and positivity. We talked about how people bottle up their feelings and how sooner or later the bottle is going to explode. We talked about what we could do to address this issue. A lot of things. And how many of those things seem practical? None. In the society where I come from, most people suppress what they feel, think about what could be, and let those thoughts remain as thoughts due to the fear of adults and society disapproving. People hardly talk about feelings, dreams, aspirations, love. There are high suicide rates and misdirected violence in the community, and I'm a product of that society. I never thought depression was a problem. So when I came to the US, I saw depression as a major problem, and almost everyone I knew had been to a counseling session sometime in their lives. This made me feel proud of the strong friends I had. What I didn't realize then was how fake everything was. As I started talking to people, being closer to them, something seemed wrong. I started seeing how sad everyone was. I noticed how people with the widest smile were most often the saddest. In retrospect, I realized how much over the past 2 years my opinions had developed regarding the positive effects of counseling, listening to someone's problem, being there for them. Many of us feel that suicide is a stupid thought. We see depressed people and are quick to make judgments. We wish that they didn't mask their pain with a smile and wish that they would tell us everything so that we could help them. What we do not realize is how difficult it can be for many people to talk about themselves and their problems. It would be difficult for us to talk about our problems, our childhood, our life. Being able to open to somebody is a matter of trust and familiarity. During our low times, we tend to compare our openness to others' openness. Showing sympathy isn't enough to build trust for openness. It's true empathy that is necessary. Showing your companion you know how they feel. So we can start with people who mean the most to us. We can start by letting out our feelings and hope for them to let out theirs. The point is to have a meaningful conversation. We might not see their behavior or their outlook change, but we will know that we made them feel special and that we are special to them. We can bond, start talking more about our lives, have those deep conversations. We might not see how much of that helped them, but we will know that they carry lighter burdens with a genuine smile. And that, I think, is the difference between being a friend and being a companion.
Can we give one more warm round of applause for Utsa? Wow. Wow. Whew. Yes. Next up, we have an incredible presenter. They go by the name Kalani Padilla. Give a round of applause for Kalani Padilla. Yes.
So I've been asked to state my name as my parents would introduce me, which is really funny because that's not really how the name that I go by at Whitworth. So here people call me Kalani Padilla sometimes. My parents call me Lauren Padilla, which is my legal first name, and Padilla, which is the off pronunciation of Padilla, which is Spanish. And I'm just going to show off a little bit here and say that my full name actually is Lauren Kahana Akealoha Nokavai Mako Kalani Nicole Padilla. So this piece kind of started as a Facebook post because I like to use my social media as a way of collecting beautiful moments in my life for me to remember and for others to also remember, which I think is appropriate because Ordinarily, which is the title, is about finding extraordinary feelings in the really commonplace and mundane. And so Ordinarily, the title is actually a one-word response to the prompt of this year, which is how do you find beauty? And my answer is ordinarily.
Wow. In the living room of my suburban house in central Oahu, my grandmother mumbles stories about her childhood in the Philippines, caring for the buffalo, bathing in the river, her terrifying father. I sit at her feet like I did when I was a little girl, and I ask her what her childhood house was like. And she uses a single word, empty.
And then she smiles small and she hands me her stories of scrubbing the floors with coconut husks and water. No wonder my mother's counters are so vast and pristine. I imagine the vessel that may have brought my grandmother from the Philippines to Hawaii, her hair darker and longer, Lydia nestled under white sails. And then I populate the rest of the ship because I'm struggling to remember my grandfather's name and I'm too embarrassed to ask. The only thing that I can remember is his handwriting because his letters have been taped to Grandma Lydia's bedroom wall for as long as I've known how to see. This is beautiful. And in the living room of my suburban house in central Oahu, my mother is a contract worker. She sews zipper after zipper for stranger after stranger, and she gives herself twice as much time as she's paid for. After hours, she sinks to the floor next to our dog and tells her she loves her, asks me what I want for dinner, journeys to the kitchen counter. Then she calls my father inside, because otherwise he forgets there's an inside. If he could, he would trim each blade of grass one by one, plant 100 papaya trees, raise an ocean. I know he sometimes wishes that he could go back to Kauai, to his father's garden, and to the sea outside Kamakani. This is beautiful. In the kitchen of our Los Angeles apartment, Tabitha reaches over her pot of oatmeal for the spices she carried with her from India. Natalie celebrates a fried egg and teaches herself how to bake a salmon. Megan has instant macaroni and cheese for the 8th time this week. We're filmmakers, we think, but we're destined to be strangers in every way except for this. We made something together in Los Angeles, something beautiful. And in the kitchen of this diner house on Graves, I am my mother. The sky is full of snow instead of banana leaves, but I follow in her steps, shepherding every bowl and spoon and chipped plate to its home. In a kitchen, I learn that even I have a purpose. In a kitchen, I learn that the leftovers and the half-empty cans have the dignity of belonging. And the 8 women who live here have the strength to keep existing. This is ordinary, and it's beautiful.
Can we give Kalani one more warm round of applause? So much power. In this short and beautiful time I've had at Whitworth over the past couple days, I've been reminded by the power of a voice, by a power of a collective voice as well. When we speak up and we speak out, when we don't choke the words down that our heart, our soul, our intuition tells us that we need to say. I see so much courage, so much fierceness, so much beauty playing out on this stage and in everyday moments that are both improvised and envisioned throughout your campus community. Thank you for inspiring that. Thank you for adding some of that daily magic that makes the ordinarily extraordinarily, so to speak. This next song I would love to share with you, if that's okay with y'all. It's called Sweet Sounds, and it's dedicated to the power of that voice. Here we go. Woke up and saw the news today. I grabbed my coffee and I'm on my way. Hey, 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 hey. Brush my teeth and I do my hair. See, my thoughts are everywhere. Today, the sun, my skin, the world we're in. Come what may. The light within, the right timing. That's the way. And I found myself sweetest sound, and I knew my life could take me off the ground, and I found my voice in the deepest well, and I knew it's strange, but only time could tell. Listen, hear what I gotta say. Black and beautiful coming your way. Hey, 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 hey. Round the world, heard a million sounds. Right now, I'm in your town, down the way. Hey, 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 hey. And you better keep running, running. Never know when you're coming, coming. True today. True to self and it's stunning, stunning. Never give up till you're done and done. Know that it's okay, okay. Sweet sounds, bittersweet round. Record playing on sacred ground, indigenous ground. Sweet sounds, bittersweet round. That ain't die. So been around the world from Senegal to South Africa, Morocco, the UK, India, Kazakhstan, Belarus, Japan, and many places in between. But everywhere that I've been, taking that all into reflection and consideration, I am especially grateful to be right here with you tonight. Can you give yourselves a warm round of applause? Make some more noise for all of our diversity monologue presenters. For sharing so much heart, so much soul, inspiring so much beauty. And remember this, trust your voice. It's powerful. Trust your voice. Check it. And she is everywhere. I feel her when I breathe. Can't take for granted love like ocean, sun, and breeze. Come through the trees as I wait for a while. Mama calling in a laid-back style. Motherless child, I run for miles as baby cry tears like Niles, estuaries. This the flow from my soul, not just where you from, it's what you know. I write an epitaph like souls of weathered feet. Only saw the surface cause oceanic deep make way. As she give birth to the sun, he will be witness to the damage we have done. Arab springs become winter scenes, and as the rain falls, it washes our truth clean. Yes, it washes our truth clean. Da-da-hey, da-hey, hey, hey. Sweet sounds, bittersweet round. Record playing on sacred ground. Do-da-da, oh, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sweet sounds, bittersweet round. Record playing on sacred ground. Let's give a round of applause for our next, thank you so much. Thank you. Our next incredible presenter, without much further ado, is Jess Lewis. Can we show some love? Yes.
My name is Jessie Lewis, and I would really like people to get out of my monologue beauty and resilience, that they are beautiful if they just keep being diligent about their lives and decide to keep standing up and determinedly going towards their goals. So everybody has beauty within them is really what I want people to get from my monologue in general. And I wrote the monologue because when I first heard the prompt, how do you come to know beauty, from the diversity monologues, I was simultaneously a little bit confused at first, but then I found it more challenging, and I love to write, and I love challenges. So I decided to write one for that reason, and also because when I was starting to delve into how I came to know beauty, I realized that it doesn't come from the physical for me. It comes from the backbone of a person. I am astounded by the doors that open up for me because of my beauty. Not just physical doors, although there's many handles that I've never had to touch, but mostly metaphorical doors. My beauty has made me second guess most of my accomplishments, made me pity those that are born in this materialistic world that are not pretty, and made me hate myself for being valued as a physical object. I came to know my beauty when strangers started staring, when the boys would no longer play with me because they were too embarrassed to look me in the eye, when my brother disrespected everything natural in my own trust and took advantage of me, when my fellow female peers ostracized me because it was less important that I had good grades and a good heart than my ability to contour. Over time, my beauty was revealed to me in these moments because no matter how I was hit, I rose again. Still believing in the good of this universe and the joy under the balls of my feet, I promised myself I would be a success. However, I also found beauty while tracing my mother's face, roving over moles and pulling out rogue hairs that she had decreed marred her appearance. I listened to her laughter, and I found myself crying, drunk with the happiness too. It's taken me years to understand the great beauty that is pooled in the creases of my mother's face. Her radiance is not attributed to her high cheekbones or her propensity to drinking water or even her green-flecked eyes. It is found in her soul, which is unbreakable to all men, unyielding to the heft of the world's work, and replenished with sunshine and silver springs. Furthermore, I found beauty while holding my father's hand. We lay on his bed watching witchcraft unfold on screen, and most of my memories with my father are of us sitting on his bed. He has a broken back from a life lived too much, too fast, and what he did not know in that moment is that the night before I had found a journal full of his therapy notes. I had encountered the worst parts of him, his darkest moments and his personal struggles, and I held his hand and I showed him that he is worthy of great love and great forgiveness. I had to leave both of my parents in order to gain them. We're all on a journey in order to love ourselves, but it is vastly aided when others grant you grace and forgiveness. My parents spent years playing tug-of-war with my heartstrings, vying for a number one spot that didn't exist. And I was angry for years. But now I'm understanding of this. I would have never recognized what beauty truly is if not for the catalyst of all who have forgiven me and all whom I have forgiven. Beauty is not what the world defines it as. They see a pretty face and they call it beautiful, or they watch a sunrise over a range and they sigh with admiration, but beauty is found in depth and growth. The more shape that a face has, the more beautiful we find it. And when the light crests over mountain peaks and reveals the detail of a landscape, and my parents are beautiful because they have encountered so much and experienced so much and grown radiant from it. They have struggled and survived. They've been cruel and they've been broken. And the stories that encircle the details of their face brings me to catch my breath. When the world beats you down, find beauty in your resilience. When you find yourself sneering or caving to cruelty, find beauty in that recognition and the forgiveness that must follow. Remind yourself to create love the next moment that you can. And when someone calls you beautiful, remember your story. I remember my story in the darkest moment of my life, the ugliest moment of my life, when I held a gun to my temple and I told myself that I could not give up on myself then. Do not give up on your beauty, but instead, stand again. We are a world of beauty and stories worth being told.
One more warm round of applause for Jess. So many moving stories in this space. Next, I would like to present to you Jyra Hammond.
My name is Jaira Hammond, and the reason why I wrote the poem that I did was just to get people to understand that beauty is power and beauty is influential, and that everybody has a different perspective on how they view it. And what I want you all to get out of it is to take this journey with me on how I found beauty and to just take that in and embrace that. So I hope you guys like it. Beauty. What is it to me? As I think about this question, I sit in tranquility. Silence. What does this even mean? I constantly search for the answers to both those questions, but all I know is both requires a full team. When I think about beauty, I instantly think about the outer man. But come to think about it, I don't really understand the true essence and power of that word. It's about being free and flying away like a bird. Beauty is not about the boobs, the butt, the thighs, or the face. It's about finding it within yourself, finding that inner space. Growing up, I always thought that I was ugly. I hated when people stared at me intensely and started mugging. I hated my body, my personality, and even my hair. People will always be like, "Oh, Gigi, you're so pretty." I would just be like, beware. Growing up, I always relied on the compliments of others. I grew up with one sister and 3 brothers. People will always say how we were such a good-looking family, but deep down, I couldn't accept that, and I hated me. It wasn't until I hit my teens when I found out what that word truly means. When I turned 16, I had what y'all call a glow up, and all I wanted to do was wear makeup, but even though I looked more grown up, I was caught up in my outer appearance instead of standing in awe and reverence. As time went on, I came to the conclusion that beauty isn't always about what you see, but it's about what's inside that lasts eternally. Now that I think about it, I think about how my mind was just so naive. I would just cloud my mind with lies and then wouldn't leave. Just bombard and just think about all of this in my mind. I would think about it over and over and over again as if I pressed rewind. But once I knew that beauty was held within, it was at that moment I knew that I could finally win. Win the battle over my mind, because it was about time for me to start appreciating who I was internally. I knew that in order for me to be happy, I needed to be free. So, how did I come to find beauty? The answer to that is beauty found me.
Jaira, come on. Can we give another one round of applause? Make some noise. Wow. One ongoing thing that I think I'm continuing to see flow throughout some of the narratives that we are hearing this evening is that healing can in fact be part of beauty. Are y'all with me on that? This next song I would love to share with you is called Just Breathe. And it's about exactly that, finding that center, finding that inner voice and that place where you can find some healing, some self-care, to be good to yourself so we can be great to our community. And to sing it, I would love to have some of your help. Are you down to sing along with me? The chorus goes like this. Don't try to be, just be. Inhale, exhale, and I want y'all to say breathe. You down for that? Don't try to be, just be. Inhale, exhale. Breathe. Don't try to be, just be. Inhale, exhale. Breathe. Beautiful. I think you got it. Feel free to groove with it if you feel it. Don't try to be, just be. Inhale, exhale. Don't try to be, just be. Inhale, exhale. I believe in miracles. I believe in a greater world. I believe in good things, and it starts with we. Thank you for never giving up, mama. When times get tough, you always cared for and enlightened me. Music keeps me from dying inside. Never feel like I have much to hide. I sing my feelings, still know how to breathe. Sometimes they treat me separate from society. Some days it's hard to get up. Inspiration's what it takes, and I got enough. Feeling faith in community. Looking past what my eyes can see. Free, I be, we be free. I be, we be. Don't try to be, just be. Inhale, exhale. Don't try to be, just be. Inhale, exhale. I praise high, bow down low. I keep it humble cause I'm always on the real, yo. Pass down knowledge, ancestors to the seed. I plant freedom, flowers rise up so beautifully. And they say we cannot succeed. Lies told that we shall not believe. I refuse your stupidity, slavery. I was born free and free, I will be. Your oppression is insanity. My impression is humanity for real. I be, we be for real. Don't try to be, just be. Inhale, exhale. Give yourselves a round of applause. Y'all are amazing. With that said, it's my pleasure and an honor to introduce the next presenter, Hannah Howell.
Hi, my name is Hannah Howell, and first of all, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. The question that my monologue revolves around is, where are you from? A question that used to be pretty painful, but has led to some beautiful truths. When I heard that the theme of this year's Diversity Monologues was, how do I find beauty? I realized that the only way I can answer that is that there is beauty in ethnic ambiguity. So if you hear anything from my monologue tonight, I hope it's that. Do me a favor and use your imaginations to picture a scene with me. I'll describe it for you. Imagine sitting here, an adorable 12-year-old girl, just the cutest little thing you've ever seen, volunteering at a nail painting booth for a fundraising event being put on by the local elementary school. Now, this girl here, this girl who's super cute, is me, okay? Imagine me cute. Now, imagine I'm painting all these little kids' ridiculously tiny fingernails, feeling big and bad because, after all, I'm 12, when a woman walks up to the booth. Imagine her nicely dressed, probably in her 30s, white, blonde, a complete stranger, and she looks down her nose at 12-year-old me and says, "Where are you from?" Yeah, if you've ever stepped in, well, for lack of a better word, dog shit and said, "Ooh," then you'll know the manner in which this woman asked me that question. Imagine how 12-year-old me, no longer feeling particularly big nor bad, humiliated in front of all of these other people, all openly staring, all white, says, "America," the truth, which prompts the woman to scoff early. That was the first time I'd ever been asked that question in such a contemptuous, public way, but it was far from the last. Every other day, sometimes every day, of middle school and high school, I was asked, "What are you? Where are you from? Where are you really from? Where are your parents from? Do you hablas inglés?" And when with my Filipino mom, "Is that your nanny? And when with my white dad, "Oh, are you adopted?" Yeah. You can imagine that sometimes these were asked by inappropriately curious strangers, sometimes by well-meaning friends and teachers, and sometimes by people intending to be hurtful. It's okay if you don't immediately recognize the sting in those questions, but I will tell you that being asked so regularly where I'm from, with the implication being that I'm from somewhere else, not here, eroded my sense of belonging to the country in which I was born. Back to using our imaginations. Imagine where I was born. St. Louis, Missouri. Imagine my parents. A Filipino immigrant who became a US citizen almost 30 years ago, my mom, and a very tall white guy who grew up in Walla Walla, Washington, my dad. Picture our family. Colorful, multiracial, multicultural. We live all over the country, all over the globe. I've got dozens of cousins in the Philippines I still haven't even met. Imagine how awesome that is. And imagine trying to pick an Instagram filter that flatters all of our very different skin tones. So, what is beautiful about all of this to me? What's beautiful about being asked where I'm from? What's beautiful is what I have finally learned. That Americans don't actually look like anything because they look like everything. That's beautiful. It's beautiful that there are increasingly more and more Americans who are this unpredictable, delightful blend of cultures and features and tongues. People who can't be neatly put into a racial box or fitted with an ethnic label are beautiful. People who've been asked time and again to explain their existence are beautiful. Someday people won't ask us where we're from anymore. And that's beautiful. Back to using our imaginations. Imagine the woman asks me where I'm from, but this time, I don't answer her question. I just tell her what I know now. I'm beautiful. Thank you.
Wow. Give it another warm round of applause for Hannah. Oh my goodness. Next up, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Melissa Osorio. Yes.
Hi, my name is Melissa Osorio Brizuela, and my diversity monologue is about accents. If there is anything that I want you to get out of this, it's the fact that you shouldn't be ashamed of your accent. Your accent tells your story, and at times it's a very hard one. So there are all different types of accents, and that's something that you should take pride in because it's a courageous act. And also to those people that don't have accents, and somebody's trying to communicate with you in something that is not their native language, it's about empathy and trying to put yourself in that other person's shoes, trying to meet them halfway, because what they're doing isn't easy. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. There are moments that we can't forget. This was one of those moments. 12th grade, laying on a couch with one of my friends when one of our teachers made a comment about our accents. She said that he was one of the few people from all of our school that did not have the traditional Hispanic accent. So naturally, I asked about mine. And she said that my accent was fairly strong and a typical Hispanic accent. These comments were not intended to be mean. But before that moment, I had never thought about my accent. I had thought about my pronunciation because I have to remind myself that it's focus, not fuck yous. And that beautiful is spelled beautiful. Nonetheless, I failed to realize that my pronunciation didn't actually matter. Because there is an accent that, even though it is invisible to me, differentiates me from everyone else in this room. So that day, I started wondering, what will other people think of me when they hear my voice? Will I become other, somebody who's different, perhaps uneducated, less than, not good enough, not smart enough? Or maybe I'll get lucky and I'll just be another typical Hispanic accent. My jail very often sounds like Yale, the fancy university. My cheap sounds like ship and at times like sheep. And my sheet, as in pieces of paper, very often sounds like shit. That not so very nice word. So I started to admire all those people who were able to pronounce their R's and L's, their J's and Y's, and their sh and ch sounds so effortlessly. Because my tongue feels as if it was tied up whenever I try to pronounce too many of them, whenever they are too close together. I can handle one or two most of the time, but sometimes there are just too many of them. However, there are other people who think that I barely have an accent. To them, my accent got lost in translation and it is no longer strong enough. And to those people, I might be someone to admire, like I used to admire them. Or somebody who lost sus raíces hispanas, her Latinhood. Nonetheless, I've realized that there is nothing to admire. If there is anything worth admiration, it is your journey of humbling yourself enough to learn something that is not native, not natural, and definitely not easy. And everyone's journey is different. So my accent is now a part of me, something that I embrace. Not because I've mastered English. My tongue still gets tied more times than I feel comfortable. And people still laugh at the way that I pronounce certain things because it sounds funny. Is it? Is it really that funny? The way I struggle? And I still get the, oh, you meant? Yes, that's what I meant. And people still think that I don't know how to pronounce my own country's name. I think that I know how to say Honduras, but thank you. I embrace it because it tells my story, and my accent is me, and our accents are beautiful. No matter what language you try to master, whether it's English, French, German, Spanish, or Swahili, your accent is beautiful because it tells the story of you jumping into something that is unknown and wonderfully scary. So I beg of you, embrace your accent, not because it is perfect, but because it is you. And this is your journey.
Can we give Melissa one more warm round of applause? Wow. I'm so moved by all the presenters we've heard this evening. And as we segue into the final parts of our evening together, I'm ruminating on the many ways in which sometimes loss, sometimes transition, Sometimes a disconnect and then sometimes a coming together can be a place where we find not only ruptures, but beauty. I know at least for me that is true. In those so-called in-between spaces where I sometimes find myself sitting comfortably because none of the boxes fit. This next song I would like to perform for you is called Missing You. And it's about those loved ones who might be far away that we might not be able to see anymore. It might be about that disconnect of family members or friends, girlfriends or boyfriends or whoever. It might even be a concept, a land, a place that we've never seen before. I dedicate this to you all. Taking a breath. I've been missing you, missing you. Did you know that I still care? I've been trying to, learning to follow through, even when you're not there. Want you to know that it hurts sometimes. Want you to know that I'm still alright. I've been missing you, missing you. Yes, it's true, incredible, so indelible. Wanna hold you close, will not let go. Centrifugal, centrifugal. Let us rise and never fall. No more burden, burden, burden. Let them talk and we will fly from this. From all this hurting, hurting, hurting. Let it This is just to say that I'm missing you today, today. We will never fade away, never fade away, fade away. Yes, it's rise and never fall. No more burden, burden, burden. Let them talk and we will fly from this. From all this hurting, hurting, hurting. This is just to say that I'm missing you today, today. This is just to say that I'm missing you today. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure and an honor to introduce this next presenter, Rubenson Darcy.
My name is Rubenson Raviks Darcy, and for my monologue, I chose to title it Between the Two. It's called Between the Two because it's reflecting on my life story. It's where I was born in Haiti, my life there, and here in America after I was adopted. What you get out of this is that no matter what you go through in life, no matter what steps were taken, what happens in your life, you can always find happiness and beauty in everything you do. I'm from a world no one knows. From stolen corn to salty rice to crying 2-year-olds, making sure they have a fighting chance. I'm from a house with no floors, rags as blankets, to king-size bed and fitted sheets. I'm from a world where every man, woman, and child fends for oneself, to green grass, farmlands, paved roads, free at last. I'm from Haitian blood, tough without fear and carefree. I'm from taped up soccer balls, barefooted, not able to feel the gravel beneath my feet, to Friday night lights and fancy cleats on well-groomed grass, softer than a blanket. Safe, yet fearful, without the worry of time running out. From a world where I see mothers' murders, sibling starvation, wondering who will be next, to worrying about something so unimportant like games or A- on test. I'm from getting stabbed, close to death, protector of my family, from Raviks to Darcy, from Rubenson to Ben. I'm from voodoo dolls and devilish dances in the forest, to listening to rock praise songs in cathedral-like buildings. I'm from not knowing what to believe, stuck between the two, from my future being dead in the streets like the others, to having a future with endless possibilities. I'm from a mother's love that was taken away from me by man, yet was nature, to another mother's love, but both will never escape me, to what was once nature, now seems extreme. I am who I am because I need to be, not by demand, but by choice. And they say you only live once, yet I've had 2 lives, filled with knowledge, but impossible to separate. It is through hard times, pain, and struggles that one truly comes to know beauty. It sheds the light on the little things, and those little things are what matters most in this life. You need to embrace the darkness so that beauty can be seen.
Can we give it another warm round of applause for Benson? Ooh. And next up, Karen Soptafo.
My name is Karen Soptafo Anaïs Alambon, and the title of my monologue is Finding Beauty in My Cultural Identity. And I chose this topic because coming here and being around so many international students that knew so much about where they're from, I started questioning where I was from, so I really wanted to explore that. I found that my cultural experience was very different from everybody else's, and I couldn't really fit that into finding what is beautiful about it, so I really wanted to explore that in my monologue. And I'm still learning to find beauty in my own culture, whatever culture that is. Stepping into a place where how you look and where you're from characterizes who you are, I started questioning where I'm from. How could I be from one place but have lived in another, and another, and another? Where are you from? I grew up in 5 different African countries, 5 different cultures, 5 different homes, none of which are where I am from. I came to find beauty in many different forms. Taking hair, for example, big, colorful, and vibrant in Senegal, short, natural, and free in Uganda, and wrapped up in the most beautiful way in Nigeria. I see beauty in all of them. I really started thinking about this when I came to the United States. All the international students knew where they were from. I'm from Zimbabwe, born and raised. I'm from Ethiopia, and I love sharing things about my culture. I'm from Bhutan. Have you heard of our royal family? I came to the realization that there was no culture that I was an expert at. I don't speak my native Cameroonian language. I couldn't tell you much about the place, and I couldn't even tell you who my first president was. It felt like I couldn't find beauty in my own culture. What culture, even? How could I claim to be Cameroonian, having never lived nor been born there? Beauty is subjective, meaning it's different for each and every single person, depending on their experience. If some of you may see beauty in your culture, I see beauty in the similarities or differences in the cultures that I've come to learn. I find it beautiful that on Fridays, a lot of Senegalese people wear their traditional outfits to go to mosque, while it's just a regular day for most Ugandans. I find it beautiful that in Cameroon and Côte d'Ivoire, a lot of the food there can be eaten with ripe plantain, boiled, fried, mashed, you name it. I love how heavy it rains in Nigeria, as opposed to how scorching hot it gets in Senegal. I find it beautiful that in Côte d'Ivoire, a lot of the traditional outfits there can be worn with white body paint. You cover most of your body up in Uganda's, and in Congo, it's the accessories that speak volume. I came to find beauty in indulging in the cultures that I've come to learn. I came to find beauty in being able to freely express my cultural identity. I came to find beauty in culture. Cameroonian by nationality, I am from Côte d'Ivoire, Congo, Senegal, Nigeria, Uganda, and Cameroon. A boiling pot of many different cultures, I am African. Thank you.
Make some noise for Karen. Yes. Are you ready for our very last diversity monologue? Oh my goodness, I know some of y'all are like, it's not over yet. The next person to come up to the stage, I want you to make a very warm round of applause for this person. Last but not least, Lacey Went.
Hi, my name's Lacey, and I'm a sophomore at Whitworth University. I decided to write my monologue about searching for beauty and dismantling whiteness because I spent my whole entire life trying to be someone that I'm not. In this monologue, I finally found this identity where I'm proud of who I am, and I no longer have to pretend to be something that is not me.
Beauty. My whole entire life, I have struggled to feel beautiful. Growing up, I remember flipping through magazines and seeing fair-skinned models on the pages. They had blonde hair, blue eyes, and tall noses. I was the complete opposite. I had tan skin, small eyes, and a flat nose. Already at a young age, I had come to associate beauty with whiteness. This struggle to feel beautiful manifested itself in the way that I viewed my family. I dreamed of a world in which I wasn't the child of immigrants. I was embarrassed every time my parents spoke their broken English in public. For career day, I'd pretend my mother was a doctor or a lawyer because I was too ashamed to admit she owned a nail salon, making a living off of painting the nails of rich white people. I daydreamed about what it would be like to have parents who were white, who spoke perfect English, who went to college, and who could help me with my homework. I often wonder how much it hurt my mother to see me so ashamed of our family. In order to fit in order to mimic what I saw on TV and in media, I put on a mask. In putting on this mask, I stripped myself of my Vietnamese identity and replaced it with whiteness. I kept my Vietnamese hidden underneath my tongue. Every time it would kick at the back of my teeth, begging to come out, I would clasp my mouth shut. I swallowed my heritage and let it fester inside of me. In putting on this mask, I didn't just strip myself of my identity, I deliberately silenced a part of who I was. I even wore this mask every time I went to church. I felt in order to blend in with the rest of my congregation, I had to purge myself of all remnants of my Vietnamese identity. For a long period of my Christian life, I thought being white is the only way one could be godly. Every time I prayed, every time I read scripture, every time I worshiped, in my mind, I was worshiping a God only meant for white people. I remember one instance in which I opened my eyes during a prayer and realized no one in the room looked like me. In that moment, I realized no matter how hard I tried to be white, it would never work. No matter how hard I tried to keep this mask on my face, it would never fit. Something would always be off. My eyes too small, my nose too flat, my Asianness too much. In that moment, I prayed and asked God, why didn't he make me white? It would have been so much easier to blend in, to fit in, to finally feel like I was beautiful. I didn't find true beauty until I stopped looking around me and started looking up at the cross. The true sacrificial love found at the cross is more beautiful than anything I could ever imagine. This love set me free. It told me I no longer needed to wear this mask of whiteness to feel beautiful, that I was made in the imago Dei, the image of God. This love released me from my insecurities. It flowed into my life and forced me to live into who I was meant to be. And although I had spent my whole entire life burying parts of myself that were dying to be seen, this love told me there was beauty in being Vietnamese. Once I started to grasp the true beauty found at the cross, I saw that there was beauty in my life everywhere I looked. Beauty is when I look in the mirror and realize my almond-shaped eyes and flat nose were handpicked by the creator of the universe. Beauty is the sound of Vietnamese filling the air. It is the sound of harsh American syllables colliding with the soft vowels of Vietnamese. The two do not mix, but in turn create a beautiful cacophony. But most importantly, beauty is the way my immigrant parents love their children so dearly. It is in the sacrificial love that my mother is so willingly ready to give. Just like the way Jesus washed the feet of others out of love, so does my mother. Her whole entire career has been spent hunched over, washing the feet of others so that I could stand before you today. Today, I stand before you no longer ashamed of who I am, of where I come from, of who my family is. I've come to realize that true beauty is not obtaining some standard of whiteness. True beauty is living into who I was created to be. Thank you.
Yes. Can we give another round of applause for Lacey? And one more round of applause for all of our Diversity Monologues presenters this evening. Oh my goodness, so much love. This room has been filled with so much love. I hope each of us takes a little piece of it back home. Now, as we wrap up, some final ruminations and maybe some final inspirations. Each of the Diversity Monologues participants inspired me to think about the power of our stories. Sometimes stories allow us to see one another, to relate in a universal language. Sometimes our stories allow us to identify and connect our humanity through a vast, beautiful tapestry that never ends. I want to invite you, from this moment forward, maybe you've already been doing it before, to continue to write yourselves into existence. What is the world that you want to live in? The daily life, the well-being of your community. What does that look like? What does that smell like? What does that taste like? What does that feel like? To me, part of beauty is daring to dream and daring to show courage in that, just like we saw modeled this evening. So as fellow raptivists, as incredible Whitworth community members, I want to invite you to challenge apathy with awareness, ignorance with intelligence, and oppression with expression. For we know that we don't just write verses, we write universes. Now, this last piece I would love to share with you is a poem, actually, by Mahmoud Darwish. And it's inspired also by the music, a song called Zubayda from Azerbaijan, from my time living in Morocco, among many other places. The lyrics say, "على هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة." Here on this earth, we have everything that makes life worth living. Here on this earth, we have everything that makes life worth living. So why fight over it? It's an ode to peace. It's an ode to coming together. Hope you enjoy it. هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة إلا هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة تردد إبريل رائحة خبزي في الفجر إلا هذه الأرض سيدارة الأرض من البدايات الرحيات كانت تسمى فلسطين سحر تسمى فلسطين سيداتي استحقوا لأنك سيداتي استحقوا الحياة 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 Boy in New York told me liberty's just a statue. I deal in blazing in metal, glaring at you. Empty promises of freedom that begat you. Land of the free, home of the brave. Is that true? Future dependent on puppet strings. Where's the agency? It makes me wanna scream. Remember, we on the same team, somewhere between. Awake in a dream, only window to the world, the blue glow of a screen. Asylum seekers see red, politicians see green. All that I ask is that humanity be seen. Asking for asylum in the place they call home. Time to remind them they ain't alone in the solitude of self, the penitentiary of these walls. Let people hear the solemnity of your cause. The hill earth, I want to invite you to sing along with me. Can y'all sing like this? Your turn. Nice. Keep it going. That's beautiful. On dit qu'on en focus dont l'amour soit heureux, mais qu'on y tire quand la flamme s'éteint, se pose la distance. Né la rupture s'ensuit la naissance d'une famille par alliance, d'un ce jeune qui crache sur son patronyme. Trop je porte à la dérive, quand les misères de leur famille les enivent, et que de leur plus vivre de voir un des cieux sur la rive. Et si un jour arrive le drame dont le cœur l'éteint en flamme, reste la boussole morale que les mots harmonie, paix, amour et bravoure, des mots dans ma démour. Même se font le mal et sur famille musicale, j'ai pris même chemin, je remets c'est les miens. Voilà tout ce que j'aime, que la santé et la musique reine. Et la musique reine. Et la musique reine. Can't hear you. All right. Elle hit, 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 elle hit. The hill earth, Can I get those claps back? I want to feel your energy. Beautiful. Yes, you got it. You already know. That's a heartbeat. Our connective tissue that reminds us how close we actually are, how interdependent we actually are. Like the water that we sip and that we are made up of, we can give life. Elle hit, 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 elle hit. the hill earth. The hill earth. Please give yourselves a warm round of applause. You all are incredible. I also want to give a warm round of applause to Sean, Lulu, and David. Thank you so much for your organizing. To Whitworth College, thank you so much for having us, for holding this space and continuing to hold this space. And one more round of applause for our incredible presenters this evening. Wow. Thank you.